Hello and welcome to the last video here in the three-part TikTok marketing series. Uh, Previously, we touched on TikTok shopping, the importance of it to the platform, really. And now we're going to look at a little bit more of the content strategy before we wrap up. So, with TikTok, there is a strong contingent of users who enjoy watching as well as recording live broadcasts. When you go live on TikTok, it's a separate tab and it is introduced occasionally through the pre recorded video section of the For Your page. Um, and once you're in the live video, you can scroll similar to a regular, like you would normally on TikTok, and see other lives. So at any given time, there's a handful of live videos happening. A lot of times, it's brands, not just brands, but like small businesses that are doing something like unboxing or giveaways. Sometimes they're exploring. And really, when you think about going live, how long do people watch? What are they trying to get out of it? Really, you want to think about going live when your audience is actually there to watch it. That is really a critical component because even if you were to record a live video and then post it for on-demand viewing later, you're still missing out on a lot of the authenticity and the ephemeral nature of live video that sticks with viewers a lot more than if they were to watch it after the fact. It's kind of like if a lot of people, they register for a webinar and they don't go to it live, but they watch it after the fact. As a result, do they ever actually end up watching it? Maybe a minute or two, but often not, because there is something intrinsically in the back of their mind that shows, hey, this has already happened. Even if I have questions or comments, can't really give it. It's kind of a one on a one. There's a one way street here. It's a one way communication. So often with webinars too, I've hosted a ton of them. We'll see like a 30 to 40% attendance rate, but rather than seeing that other 60 to 70 watch it later, maybe 5 to 10% watch it. It's a very small percentage. So with live video, a couple different places have studied these and determined 30 minutes is a good length. It's not too short. Yes, the average time people watch a live video is really short, but a lot of it is because they're looking for one to watch. If you're going to start going live, anything shorter than about 20 minutes doesn't really give you a chance to accumulate a good audience, nor does it give you a good chance to do what you're trying to do. Going live for just a handful of moments, I mean, that might work for like an interview, like at a sports event. Um, but if you think about the things that are going live, like real time experiences, you don't want them to be scripted. You don't want them to be pre-designed, pre-planned. And as a result, that's why you need that 30 minutes. If it goes longer than that, then yes, you'll start to lose people to the churn. You can start to run out of things. So there's certain give or take there. The other thing with going live is that this gives you an opportunity to not just answer questions in comments, um, but you can also host something like a Q&A. You can have this interaction that isn't quite as transactional, but is more experiential. Again, if there's one word to define kind of the going live experience on TikTok, it is that it is supposed to feel more of an experience than if it was just a regularly uploaded video. The last part on going live that I want to mention is some of the big topics, popular industries for going live, anything with food, like making, baking, cooking, even consuming the food. Those tend to get a much better response rate, along with music, than most other industries. I understand most people that watch this are not going to be in either of those industries, nor will they be in gaming. Right? Live gaming, people love watching other people play video games. I don't know why that's a thing, but it is. And those are kind of the the big three when it comes to why people watch live videos on TikTok for extended periods of time. As a brand, it's important to think about, okay, who are the people that are watching these types of videos? How can we get involved in this without sacrificing the values of the brand? If you work for a B2B automotive, an OEM, this isn't going to really resonate with you. But if you were to have this this freedom to one, use TikTok, to go live, you want to think about, okay, what are the types of things that people are looking for when they watch live videos, and how can we integrate something that activates the same kind of mindset? I don't know what that answer is. I think OEMs are a very difficult nut to crack when it comes to an app like TikTok, but does require thinking outside the box. Okay, a couple quick slides on advertising. Um, TikTok, the advertising numbers are a little lower, smaller here than they have been in YouTube and with Instagram and Facebook, even with LinkedIn. But there are some benefits. One, the biggest benefit is that ads on TikTok don't feel as much like ads as on other platforms. Part of it is that you see more influencers and more creativity with sponsored posts on TikTok than anywhere else. You still see some of that on Instagram. You see a tiny bit on Facebook. You don't see much on LinkedIn. But the thing that TikTok is good at avoiding are the traditional overproduced commercials that you might see on TV. As a result, you have this survey that TikTok recently conducted that said 80% of, where 80% of them said TikTok ads are more enjoyable than other platforms, and that they are just perceived more favorably than ads on other platforms. And this does have a loose connection to this whole social commerce idea, where for whatever reason, the way that people talk about products and talk about them on TikTok is just a little bit more authentic and a little bit more realistic than how they would review a product on other platforms. I think part of it is just the nature of the platform, but also the fact that users are usually so much younger. Also, it's really hard for a video to do well on TikTok if it is a little overly corporate and buttoned up when it's surrounded by other videos that at least feel more impulse, more what's the word I'm looking for? More improvised and not scripted in general. If you're going through and you see a bunch of videos of creators having fun or even talking about other products, and then you see what essentially looks like a commercial on a TV, that's going to get skipped 9 out of 10 times, whether it's paid or organic. And the fact that TikTok advertisers have been able to turn these ads into something that look like organic posts, that's really where it comes in. These numbers are all well and good, and on all of the different marketing categories and platforms that I've talked about, we share numbers about the success of advertising, but it really comes down to the content that you put out there in these ad formats. And with TikTok, more so than anywhere else, I mean, there's so many different options for how to show ads, but the goal remains the same. Like, you need to create something that will get people to actually watch it. It will say sponsored. It does say ad somewhere. But for whatever reason, those tend to, the fact that you see sponsored, but you see a real person talking about something and looking like they actually care, that's what sets TikTok ads apart. If you come in with your standard, overly professional and corporate boilerplate content, you're not going to see any better numbers than you would anywhere else. TikTok ads, for them to perform as well as the numbers on this slide says, right? 80% saying it's more enjoyable, and people just, having a higher receptivity. It's just for you to get that, for you to really get that, you need to you need to have ads that are similar to the ones that have been so successful. There's a ton of ad formats. I'm not going to go through any of these. It's just pretty straightforward that there's a lot of them. Um, Last couple of slides. Again, ad objectives varies pretty much the same across all the platforms. Awareness, which is just impressions, reach, unique people, consideration, people to think about a business, which means they want them to engage a little bit more with the video. Traffic is like people that'll actually click through. You're not going to get a lot of these. I do not recommend a traffic driving ad because when someone's on TikTok and they see an ad, the last thing they want to do is leave TikTok. Now, if you want to try to push for product sales within the TikTok shop, that's different. I think there's a great opportunity there for direct to consumer brands because they can go in, they can make a purchase without leaving TikTok and easily get back to the main video feed. But when it comes to bidding your dollars, your budget, it's all the same. Again, it's called cost per milli, which is just 1,000 impressions. There's an optimized cost per 1,000 impressions, which is different. This is not on the other ones. But this is just, I mean, it's if you were to ask someone from Facebook advertising, they would say, oh, all of our bidding is an optimized cost because it's delivered to an audience that they think will take your desired action. Not sure, what that necessarily means, but also, cost per 1,000 views is a different one as well. That's the price you're going to pay per 1,000 either 6 second or 2 second video views. For me, this is only worth it if you use the 6 second view. A 2 second view, it could be the difference between a quick swipe and a waiting a half second before swiping along. So for me, I am all about pushing the 6 second views. And then obviously you have cost per click. Finally, last slide is the measurement. So when you're looking at TikTok ads, I highly recommend looking at it on a desktop device. Also, if you ever boost posts in TikTok, which you can do, be careful not to do it on a mobile device because, at least not on an iPhone, because Apple will take, I believe, 35% cut from your budget. So don't do that. If you run ads through the desktop manager, it's a lot easier to work with. You see a lot more numbers. And again, works like a lot of the other platforms. But it's something where, yes, again, you can see it on the mobile side, but you just get a little bit more, and there's more data visualization opportunities on the desktop side of it. So that wraps up TikTok, marketing with TikTok. Hopefully these 3 videos work out for you. I realize they all combined different types of topics. But once again, if you like this format better than past ones, please let me know either in the comments or send me an email, and I'd be happy to continue this format moving forward.